Hi students, welcome to Gurudeva E-Classes. I am your Gurraj with the 6th standard social science subject. So in the previous class we learnt many things from the first lesson, Introduction to History. So we learnt what is the meaning of history and what is the meaning of story. What is the difference between these words, history and story. And we learnt what is the definition of the history. Shall we recall again? Yes. The systematic presentation of the past events we call as history. So that history, the one who construct the history we call as historian. Like that way, the person who construct the history we call as historian. So that history we cannot agree the point without a sources. So we need the sources. So what are the sources do you found from the history? The history, it has a classified into two ways of the sources. The first one is literary sources and another one is archaeological sources. So what is the meaning of literary sources? So literary sources, it has a containing the written literature and oral literature. So what is the meaning of written literature? The person who gives the immemorable contribution to the history by written language. So that is called as written literature. And oral literature, the person who gives the immemorable contribution by orally, that is called as oral literature. So these are the things we need and we got from the literary source. And written literature in the sense, what are the points it has covered? So written literature, it has covered the two major points. The first one is native literature and another one is foreign literature. What is the meaning of native literature? So native literature in the sense, many of the poeters or many of the historians, they are wrote the epic from our native languages. So that is called as native literature. So what we found, Ramayana, Mahabharata and Manusmriti. So these are the epics. So we got from native literature. And another one is foreign literature. So what is the meaning of foreign literature? The person who wrote the epic by the foreign languages. So that is called as foreign literature. Or for the person who wrote the foreign history by their own languages, that is called as foreign literature. So do you give the example about the foreign literature? Yes. The foreign literature, it has contained many of the epics. What we found, some of the poets. So Shakespeare, he wrote Othello, and some of the persons. So they are wrote some of the epics by the foreign languages. So these kind of the foreign languages, it has contained these kind of the epic, it has contained the foreign languages we call as foreign literature. Some of the Indian historians, they are wrote some of the epics by the Indian languages we consider as a native literature. So these we got from written literature. And what is the meaning of oral literature? So we already express and we already know about the person who gives the history by their oral literature, that is called as oral literature, that we call as Lavadis. So Lavadis in the sense, some of the songs we found, some previous days are some of the persons who are in our family, that means Vedic cultural people, they are using the languages to sing the song. So these kind of the Lavadis also helpful to know about the history. So Lavadi is also one of the point of oral literature. And folk tales. Folk tales also we can found here. That means we are singing many of the folk songs. So these kind of the folk songs gives the information about the history. So we need folk songs. And historic legendary. What is the historic legendary? The historic legendary in the sense of we are followed many of the cultural festivals. So these festivals like Karaga festival, Dasara festival, and these of the festivals are helpful to learn about the history. So historical legendaries or historic legendary also know. Also it has gives the information about the history. Which that what is the meaning of archaeological sources? See, archaeological sources in the sense of we got these things from the excavation. Excavation means, yes, I will give the definition about the archaeological source and excavation also. The archaeological source in the sense, the physically remains and the ruins of the things It has used or constructed from the ancient people. So that is called as archaeological sources. And excavation. What is the meaning of excavation? So excavation means it has scientific process. So who are digging the ground, we got many of the things. So in that these things are ancient remains, and these things we got from the ancient people. So that is called as excavation. So these excavation, it has used many of the products to us, products or things to us. So some of the things we found here: monuments, coins, inscription, and other archaeological remains. See, monuments. What is monuments? See, some of the historical places it has covered in your districts, is it no? So in your district we found many of the historical places. So in a Ballari district, in the sense we found Hampi. So Hampi is our very nearest historical places. We found many of the monuments. Means Vitala temple, and we found many of the Sasvekalu Ganapa and Kadalekalu Ganapa. So these kind of the monuments. So it has helps us to know about the history. It has helps us to know about the Vijayanagara Empire. So we need a monuments. And then coins. So we found many of the coins from the Krishnadevaraya period. So Krishnadevaraya, in the sense Vijayanagara's famous king. The Krishnadevaraya made many of the golden coins. So identifying the coins only, we found, so this coins is belongs to a Vijayanagara Empire. This coins is belongs to a Gupta Empire. This coins is belongs to a Shatavahana Empire. So these kind of the information we got from the coins. So coins also one of the informational sources. So it is one of the archaeological source. And then inscription. So inscription means we found many of the inscription. The first Kannada inscription we called as Halmidi. So Halmidi inscription, Talagunda inscription, Kappayarabatta inscription. So these kind of the inscription gives the information their empireship, and it has gives many of the information of historians or historical legendary persons. So these inscription also helps us to know about the history. So it is also one of the archaeological source, and other archaeological remains and some of the things we found. So these are all the things what we found. Some of the piece of pots and some of bones. So it has helps us to know about the history. So we need the archaeological sources also. So these archaeological sources helps us to know about the history. Students, today we learned many of the things from the sources of history. The sources of history it has classified into two ways. The first one is literary source, another one is archaeological source. The literary source it has contained two forms. The first one is written literature, another one is oral literature. So written literature it has contained two things. The first one is native literature and another one is oral literature. Sorry, foreign literature. So then oral literature it has contained three parts of the things. The first one is Lavanis. It is one of the songs or some of the stories, and then folk tales. So it is also songs, and it has covered the stories and songs also. And historical legendary. So some of the festivals we can consider as a sources of the history. Then archaeological sources it has classified into four ways. The first one is monuments. So I give many examples about these monuments. And then coins, it is also helpful to us. And then inscription, it is also one type of sources of archaeological department, and other archaeological remains. So what we found, many of the bones or piece of pots, these kind of the things it has helps us to know about the history. And then historians or some of the Vedic culture, they are give some of the epics, and they are left some of the things us to know about them. So epics in the sense Ramayana and Mahabharata, or Manusmriti, or else Arthashastra written by Kautilya. So these kind of the things we got, these kind of the epics we got. Then what about things? We learned about the archaeological sources. So other archaeological sources in the sense what we call as a trowel, brushes, and some of the wooden needles. So these things are helps us to know about the history. So these are the sources is very helpful to learn about the history. Then the next one. So Indians had their own knowledge about the mythological stories and Puranas. See, we found many of the epics, Ramayana and Mahabharata. See, this Ramayana book written by Valmiki and Mahabharata epic was written by Vyasa Maharshi. So, these kind of the epics gives the immemorable presentation or immemorable knowledge about the India. So, although the many of the foreigners visited in the time of Vedic period, so many of the Arabs and many of the Chinese travelers, they visited the India and they got the source, they got the knowledge from the India. Which that in the 16th century, one of the Jesuit, the the person name we called as Henrik Roth, he visited the India, he settled in Agra and he translated the Sanskrit grammar into English. So when he was translate Sanskrit grammar in English, he got the many of knowledge in India. See, the Indian traditions, values, customs, beliefs, so these are all and the strengthens of relationship. So these are all helpful to make and enrich their knowledge. So which that when the Britishers got the chance to collect the revenue in Bengal, in that time the Britishers also they are translate many epics into a English language, and they visited many of the temples and they visited many of the monuments and they got knowledge from this. So especially I would like to introduce one of the person, Sir William Jones. He is one of the Indologists and he studied the Indology. Do you know what is the meaning of Indology? Indology means a study of India. So this Indologist, he came to India from the England and he settled in a Bengal, and he is working as a Chief Justice of Supreme Court in Bengal. And he started the Asiatic Society in 1784, and he translated many of the epics. So especially Gita Govinda, Manava Dharma Shastra, Shakuntala, so written by Kalidasa. So these are all the epics gives a complete information about the Indian traditions. So like that way, I would like to introduce one more person, Max Muller. So Max Muller also one of the person. He is an Indologist and also a Orientalist. And he is come from the German. He wrote the epic, Scared Book of the East. This Scared Book of the East, it has gives the complete information about the Gupta dynasty and also a Shatavahana dynasty. So these are all dynasties he presented in a 50 volumes. So the name of the epic we called as Scared Book of the East. And then James Mill. The one more person I would like to introduce, the James Mill. He is also one of the Orientalists. He wrote the epic History of India. This History of India, it has contained many of the dynasties like Vijayanagara Empire, Shatavahana Empire, and Gupta Empire, Chola Empire. So these are all the empireship. So these are all the history we got from 6 volumes. So like that, Abbe Dubais, he is one of the Indologists and he come from the France. He is one of the France missionary, and he translate many of the Hindu religion people to a Christian religion, and he settled Ganjam near Srirangapatna up to a 27 years. See, in that time he translates many of the epics into English language, and the people called him as a Dodda Swami. Why they are calling him a Dodda Swami? In the sense, he is lived in a sage. He lived as a sage. So like that, he communicate with the people with closely. So people also call him as a Dodda Swami, and he wrote one of the epic, the Hindu manners and customs and ceremonies. So this was the epic was made by Abbe Dubais. So this Abbe Dubais is one of the historian. He came from the France. And I would like to introduce many of the historians like this, the Elphinstone, Coles, Brooke, Cunningham, Eliot. So these are the persons who gives a complete knowledge about the history, and they got knowledge from the India. See, with that Francis Buchan, Mackenzie, B.L. Rice and Fleet. So these are all the person, they studied about the Indian inscription, manuscripts and chronicles and testimonies. works in that, and they got the awareness about the Indian knowledge and Indian history. And what we found, some of the persons, some of the Indians we found, and Indians strengthens and Indian languages and Indian laws. There, these are all the things. It has gives the knowledge to the foreign people. So this India, it has introduced by the foreigners. How it was? Because of Indian sources. See, in this class we learnt many things from this. The Indian introduced by the Europeans, especially Sir William Jones and Sir Max Muller. They both are the Indologists, and William Jones started the Asiatic Society in 1784. He wrote he translated the epic Gita Govinda, Manava Dharma Shastra and Shakuntala into a English language. And Max Muller, he is one of the Indologist and Orientalist. He come from the German. He wrote the epic, the Scared Book of the East in a 50 volumes. And one more person we found, James Mill. He wrote the epic History of the India in a 6 volumes. And one more person we found, Abbe Dubois. He is a French missionary. He translated many epics into a English language. And he settled Ganjam near Srirangapatna, and people call him as a Doddaswami, and he wrote the epic Hindu Manners and Customs and Ceremonies. And many of the persons we found from the Europeans, especially Elphinstone, Coles, Brooke, Cunningham, Eliot. So these are all the persons, they work for the Indian inscription, manuscripts and also chronicles and testimonies. And Francis Buchan, Mackenzie, B.L. Rice, Fleet, they also translate many of the Indian epics into a foreign languages. Thank you.